The Daily Bible in chronological order. New International Version. Council plots to kill Jesus. Therefore many of the Jews who had come to visit Mary and had seen what Jesus did put their faith in him. But some of them went to the Pharisees and told them what Jesus had done. Then the chief priests and the Pharisees called a meeting of the Sanhedrin. "What are we accomplishing?" they asked. "Here is this man performing many miraculous signs. If we let him go on like this, everyone will believe in him. And then the Romans will come and take away both our place and our nation." Then one of them, named Caiaphas, who was high priest that year, spoke up. "You know nothing at all. You do not realize that it is better for you that one man die for the people than the whole nation perish." He did not say this on his own, but as high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus would die for the Jewish nation, and not only for that nation, but also for the scattered children of God, to bring them together and make them one. So from that day on, they plotted to take his life. Jesus goes to Ephraim. John chapter 11, verse 54, in Ephraim. Therefore Jesus no longer moved about publicly among the Jews. Instead, he withdrew to a region near the desert, to a village called Ephraim, where he stayed with his disciples. The final journey. From Ephraim, the final days of Jesus' life and ministry began to count down. What occurs during this period, probably between January and the end of March, is a microcosm of his entire ministry. There is more teaching to be done, and as always, the need for dialogue and confrontation with the Pharisees. Jesus once again blesses little children, and once again reminds those who would follow him of the burdens they must bear. As he has done twice before, Jesus again tells of his impending death, and there are more parables to be taught, and still more people to be healed. Surely it is a constant source of discouragement to Jesus, even in these last days, and after repeated lessons on humility, that his disciples are still seeking personal glory in the kingdom. Even now the apostles continue to think only in terms of an earthly kingdom. James and John, prompted by their mother, asked that they be given special positions. Jesus admonishes them once again, pointing to the spiritual nature of his kingdom and to the need for humility and service. Yet the time is short now. Jesus knows that they will soon understand. There is at least one person who already seems to understand about Jesus' mission and his call for humility. That person is Mary, the sister of Lazarus. As Jesus' journey to Jerusalem comes to an end, the gospel accounts tell the beautiful story of Mary anointing Jesus with precious ointments. It will be a touching prelude to the burial events of final weeks. Pharisees question divorce. Matthew chapter 19, verses 3 through 9. Mark chapter 10, verses 2 through 9. Some Pharisees came to him to test him. They asked, "Is it lawful for a man to divorce his wife for any and every reason?" "Haven't you read," he replied, "that at the beginning the Creator made them male and female, and said, 'For this reason a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh.' So they are no longer two, but one. Therefore what God has joined together, let man not separate." "Why then," they asked, "did Moses command that a man give his wife a certificate of divorce and send her away?" Jesus replied, "Moses permitted you to divorce your wives because your hearts were hard. But it was not this way from the beginning. I tell you that anyone who divorces his wife, except for marital unfaithfulness, and marries another woman, commits adultery." Disciples question Jesus. Matthew chapter 19, verses 10 through 12. Mark chapter 10, verses 10 through 12. When they were in the house again, The disciples asked Jesus about this. He answered, "Anyone who divorces his wife and marries another woman commits adultery against her. And if she divorces her husband and marries another man, she commits adultery." The disciples said to him, "If this is the situation between a husband and wife, is it better not to marry?" Jesus replied, "Not everyone can accept this word, but only those to whom it has been given. For some are eunuchs, because they were born that way. Others were made that way by men, and others have renounced marriage because of the kingdom of heaven. The one who can accept this should accept it."